Hi guys and welcome to Car Flicks. Today I'm super excited because I've been waiting for nearly 2 months for this thing to arrive. But I think I've purchased probably the best aftermarket rear spoiler for the Peugeot RCZ. It's a reasonable price. It arrived yesterday and I'm super excited. So let's get it open. This is super well packed. I've already peeled off 2 layers. Let's keep going. Oh. Oh no! I'm a little bit disappointed. I ordered glossy black and you can clearly see that ain't glossy black. Okay. Well, this is what it looks like anyway. I will probably have to get in contact with them. But anyway, these are the mounts for it. These are all the fitting screws, etc. And yeah, the only thing that is black is this, which is the brackets for the boot. And here are the bolts, and here are things that you attach to the boot, which are also curved, which is slightly worrying. But anyway, enough of that. I will complain first, and then I'll decide what to do after.
2 hours later.
Right guys, so after speaking to AliExpress, they've knocked me some money off. They knocked me like 20 quid off, and I'm gonna have a go at painting it myself. This is the spoiler. I've put it together. I think it's quite nice looking. The build quality ain't the best. It needs a bit of repair work here, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sand it all down because there are some imperfections in it, because it is all plastic. But yeah, I'm gonna sand down some of these sharp edges. I'm going to take it all apart again because I'm going to spray the ends a different colour to match my roof arches, and yeah, we're going to see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to tackle is this corner. I'm going to try and heat it up using this heat gun, if you didn't know what that was, with a big sticker saying what it was. And yeah, I'm going to probably use like a kitchen knife or something, try and get that really straight with the heat. And then after I've done that, I'm probably going to then use some fine putty just to fill it in, so there are some holes that I'm not happy with. If we turn it over, we have got some random holes here as well, which I'm going to fill and sand as well. And also I'm going to take care of the end section as well, because these are all really sharp, etc. But yeah, we're going to have a go and see how we get on. So weirdly, for 20 seconds I heated this up and it's just kind of fixed itself. It was really strange. It kind of just went back to how it used to be. Yes, it has left a hole there, but I'm going to fill that. But yeah, just a bit of heat without even touching it has brought it back to shape again. Right guys, so I'm using this. This is just some fine automotive putty. What you do is you just get the amount out you need, which is in the bottom, and then you just want a bit of hardener and then mix it together. So I've just used an old kitchen knife, which is knackered. Get the hardener. You just want about a golf ball to a pea size, just like that. And then you've got about 3 to 5 minutes to work with it. So all you're going to do is just kind of mix it together like that. I'm just doing it on a bit of cardboard that I've wrapped together, using a bit of postal tape, because you don't want anything porous, because it'll absorb and contaminate the putty. So all I'm doing is kind of just rolling it to get the air bubbles out, scraping it and rolling it and scraping it and rolling it till you still kind of see it change colour. And you don't need a lot at all. I've probably put too much here, but that's fine. And then just keep rolling it, scraping it and rolling it and scraping until all the air bubbles come out. And then once you've all got it like that, we're now going to start putting it onto the spoiler. So as you can see here, I'm now just going to kind of fill that in. I'm going to try and get as much pressed in there, because when I sand it, scrape as much as it off as you can. I want to push it down into it because I don't want there to be a hole there. I'm using way too much here, but it's alright because I'm going to scrape it off. As long as that hole is covered, that's the main thing. Now as you can see, I've just forced it into the hole and I'm just going to wait for that, scrape all the excess off. I'm going to allow that to dry for 30 minutes. So whilst I'm waiting for the main spoiler to dry, I'm going to start cutting bits of plastic off because what's the point of sanding it when a lot of it you can just cut off like that, just with a sharp Stanley knife. Like that, you see, it saves a lot of sanding if you can just take it off with a blade like this. And do that around all the main bits you can see. This side's fine. You can even do it on some of this edging here. And you can smooth that later with the sanding paper. Right, so everything's shaved off now, all the plastic edges, I've got them all off. And now I'm going to use some 320 grit and I'm going to wet and dry it. I was a bit reluctant to using wet and dry just in case this plastic filled with water or anything. But I always find it better to use wet and dry, it just seems to go on a lot easier and I can always dry it out with the heat gun. So let's get sanding. Right, so I've sanded everything down and it is amazing how much better this thing looks. Just taking a bit of time, smoothing it all down and it just looks so much better. I've also keyed everywhere, so when we do spray it with primer, it'll stick really, really well, but I'm really impressed with how that's come out. It actually looks like one solid piece now, rather than, you know, bits stuck together. Right, so now onto the main spoiler. We're now going to dry sand this first to get most of this filler out, and then we're going to smooth it down and then I'll start attacking the corner of the spoiler as well. Right, and that's completely sanded down. I started doing it dry and then I didn't want to get it too harsh, so I then started doing it wet and you can hardly feel that now. You just got to keep going. And so you just can't feel it anymore. And that feels amazing. And now onto this corner, just the same really. Right guys, you join me about an hour and a half later of graft and I want to show you how well this has come out. I don't know if I'll pick this up on camera, but everything is smoothed down. That was the bit that had a hole in it, which has come out really, really well. It looks like it's like made out of clay. It's really hard to explain, but compared to how it was, it just looks brilliant. And it just shows that if you spend the time putting the prep work in, this bit was really difficult, but it's come out so well. So when we put the paint on, that will look so good and smooth. But what I've done as well is I've keyed everything so that even on the bits that didn't need sanding, that's going to give a nice key for the primer to stick to. Now I was going to primer it tonight, but I thought if there's any water that's got inside there, I really don't want to risk the paint running with it, so I'm going to do it another night. If we flip it upside down, again, it looks really nice. That's where that hole is. You can hardly feel it anymore, and it's just come up so well, and that's going to look really, really nice when we start to put the paint on. Right guys, so you've joined me about a day and a half later. I've let everything's dry. I've just used some alcohol and I've rubbed it everywhere to get any contaminants on this before I start to put primer on. The primer I've gone for, I got it from Home Bargains for £1.99 per tin. I've no idea how good it is, but I'm sure we'll find out. I've also got some coat hangers here. I'm going to hang them up from the ceiling in the garage, and then we're gonna spray them. This just allows us to, you know, spray at all different angles instead of just having it on one side, waiting for it to dry, then flip it over. But this way, if you hang it from the ceiling, at least that you know that you can get every angle in one fair sweep. Right, so you join me. I'm just about to start spraying the lacquer. As you can see, I've hooked everything up via those hangers, and this will give me all the coverage I need. So I'm going to put 3 coats of primer on, and I'm going to leave 10 minutes between each coat. And what I'll probably do is, on the final coat, I will leave that for about 24 hours before I start sanding and spraying the final kind of paint onto it. So these are the first coats. I forgot to mention that I did put the screws in so it doesn't block the holes, but if you can see, that's just the first coat. I had a bit of a disaster. This one fell on the floor, and now I've got little bits in here, but you know, I'm just going to sand it down so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, all this first coat is on, and now I'm going to wait 10 minutes to put the other 2 coats between. And there you have it, all the 3 coats are on now. You can clearly see it's come out all right. There's a few bugs that have decided to drop on there, but yeah, it's come out really well. Even the bit that I dropped on the floor, I'll sand all that down. But yeah, I'll let that dry now for 24 hours and see how we get on. Right guys, so you join me about 24 hours later, and it's come out really well actually. There are a few little imperfections which I'm going to get out now. I think the worst one was this one, which I dropped on the floor. That's why you can see little bits of like dust where I dropped it, but this is going to be all sanded out. I think I'm going to try and sand it using this, which is 1500 grit sandpaper, just to smooth it all down so that when I put the paint on, it will be nice and smooth. The other thing is I'm probably going to dry sand this. I don't really like dry sanding, but I'm going to try, because I don't want any water anywhere at all, and we'll see how we go. Right guys, so I have gone against my advice and I've used wet and dry to get all the high and low spots out, and now this is super smooth. Yeah, the wet just stops it clogging up. I mean, this one was the worst one, and it's actually come out really well, and it's so smooth after using the sandpaper compared to what it was before. So smooth now. So now after practicing on these and getting a feel for it, I'm now going to go into the bigger one of this. But what I'm going to do, let them dry naturally, use the heat gun if I have to, and then I'll start spraying. Right, and there we have it. Everything is sanded down. The main body probably took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to do, and these bits was about 20 minutes each. It's all super smooth. I've just rubbed everything down with alcohol, and these flat spots you can see here are where all the manufacturing marks were, but I've managed to flatten all that down, and now we're ready for paint. So here we are. I've hung everything up, ready to spray. I've decided to come outside for better ventilation, and now I'm going to start with the spray paint, which is this, which I got from Home Bargains for £1.99, and I tell you something, if this paint goes down as well as the primer did, I'm pretty impressed with this. And then after that, we're going to finish off with their own £1.99 lacquer as well. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So this is the first coat. It's going to look a bit crap at first because, well, it's just your primary coat. It's already looking pretty good, even though obviously it's a bit stripy at the minute, but that's not a problem. It's supposed to look like that. I'm going for a different colour with the end caps, but yeah, again, it's kind of your first coat's always going to be like really thin, so yeah, it's got to leave 5 to 10 minutes between coats. So this is after the second coat, starting to get shiny now, coming out really well actually. So I'll probably do one more coat with that. These coming on nicely as well. Not as good. I'm having problems with the nozzle on the old one because it's an old can, but just have to do what I can with it. Right, so we're on the last bit now. I've put the 4th coat on and it's looking fairly good, to be quite honest, but the blooming heavens have opened. It's absolutely peeing it down, but luckily I'm under this, so it's fine. So I'm going to start doing the lacquer, and I'll have 3 coats of lacquer, and then we'll see how that looks after. Right guys, so the final coat is on after 4, but I don't know if my lacquer's gone off or what, but it's gone all this weird colour. I think it's just wet. I think we'll get away with it because the shine is really good. I have had a very small run just there. I'm not too bothered because that's under the wing, but the shines really come out well with the method I use, which is like an up and down and slow. But like I said, I think it just needs to dry, and I'm hoping that'll dry black by the morning. Same things happened here as well, although that is starting to dry. This was a lot worse. So I think if I let this dry overnight, hopefully that cloudiness will just go as it sets. But yeah, I think it will look good once it's done. Obviously you're never going to get a finish from as you would from a gun, but this is all about doing stuff yourself. And yeah, let's have us fingers crossed for the morning. Right guys, so you join me a day and a half later, and oh my god, this has actually come out really, really well. I am stoked at that. That looks awesome. My worries about that kind of awful effect of the whitening, I didn't have to worry about it. It's come out absolutely wicked. Oh man, I'm so happy with that. Right, I'm gonna go and stick it together and see what it looks like. Right guys, so this is it all done and painted, and I can't tell you how happy I am with it. It's come out super, super cool. And I'm now gonna put everything together, screw it all up and see what it looks like. So it's super easy to fit these. All you do, you've got 3 Allen bolt keys, and they just go straight in here, which I've just screwed on, and I'll do the same for the other side. So at this end it was really easy, just 2 screws in that side, and it's done. And oh my god, look how cool that looks. The paint finish is amazing. It's gonna look so cool on the car, this, with the matching accent of the side panels as well. I'm super, super impressed with this. I'm probably going to let it dry a little bit more because it's still a bit tacky. I have managed to put some of my finger marks in it when I was putting it together, but that doesn't matter. It will polish out, and I'm going to go and fit this to the car. Remove all this panel here, and to get these off, it's really easy. All you do is find one, get some pliers, and then just pull them out like that, and then do that for all of it until you remove these off the bottom. They're kind of hooked around here, and you've got one here as well. There's loads of these dotted about. Once you've got it off, it'll just come off. And right guys, so let me explain what I've done because it's getting late. So this is the spoiler. I've taken all the inside off. It was quite easy, just about 12-14 of these pop-off screws with 2 Torx 20s, I think, and then that came off. Basically what I did was, with this masking tape, is I placed the spoiler on the back where I wanted it, put some masking tape there, then once I got it in the right place and measured it between here and here, and they were the same, I drew around where the spoiler was fitted, and then what I did was made a masking tape template, stuck a piece of tape on there, drew around it, popped the hole through, and then transferred that over the lines that I'd already drawn on each side. So now I'm going to drill the holes, no going back now, and then we'll see what happens. Drill from the top down. There you go, this is what it looks like inside. This is what it looks like when you drill. Here and here. Install your brackets. Don't forget to put sealant. I've put some sealant here to stop the water coming in, and I'll probably put an extra dab inside as well. I just realised why I didn't put sealant on now, and that's because you can't get behind here, so that's why I put a good sealant on the other side. But yeah, once they've tightened in, you basically fit the spoiler, which I'm going to do now. And there we go, all fitted. I'm so impressed with that. So yeah, you can buy yourself an AliExpress spoiler if you want, but be prepared to put a little bit of work in. I think with all the attachments and all the extra bits and bats, probably spent an extra 15 quid. So I reckon the total bill cost is around £100 for about a £600 spoiler. So I don't think it's really that bad if you don't mind putting the effort in.
A great success!
Anyway, I hope you found this video really helpful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. See you on the next one.